Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamu alaikum, friends. The topic for today's lecture is conditional statement. The outline of the topic are why we use conditional statements, type of conditional statements, if statement and its syntax, if else statement and its syntax, if else statement and its syntax, nested if else statement, syntax, switch case statement and its syntax. Firstly, conditional statement. Conditional statements are used to execute a set of statements on some conditions. It provides a unit of block in which we can either one statement or more than one statements. If the given condition is true, then the set of statements are executed, otherwise body is skipped. Types of conditional statement. There are three types of conditional statements: if statement, if else statement, and switch statement. If statement. The if keyword is used to execute a statement or block only if a condition is fulfilled. Its forms is if, then condition, statements, where condition is the expression that is being evaluated. If this condition is true, statement is executed. If this condition is false, then statement is ignored, means not executed, and the program continues right after this conditional structure. Syntax. If, then condition, statement 1, statement 2 up to statement n. The if statement evaluates the condition inside the parenthesis. If the condition evaluates to true, the code inside the body is executed. If the condition evaluates to false, the code inside the body is skipped. The code inside parenthesis is the body of the if statement. Here is an example. Program to print positive number entered by the user. If the user enters a negative number, it is skipped. Here is the use of if-else statement. When the user enters a positive number like 5, the condition number is greater than 0 is evaluated to true and the statement inside the body of if is executed. When the user enters a negative number like -5, the condition number greater than 0 is evaluated to false and the statement inside the body of if is not executed. Then if else statement. It is known as double blocked conditional statement. It means it has true parts as well as false part. If the given condition is true, then the true part is executed, otherwise false part is executed. For example, if condition statement 1 to statement n. If it is true, it is executed, and if it is false, then else statement 1 to statement n is executed. Here is the syntax. If the condition evaluates true, the code inside the body of if is executed. The code inside the body of else is skipped from execution. And if the condition evaluates false, the code inside the body of else is executed and the code inside the body of if is skipped from execution. Here is an example. Program to check whether an integer is positive or negative. This program considers 0 as a positive number. So here is a program and use of if-else statement. In the above program, we have the condition number greater than or equal to 0. If we enter the number greater than or equal to 0, then the condition evaluates true. Here we enter 4, so the condition is true, hence the statement inside the body of if is executed. If we enter -4, so the condition is false, hence the statement inside the body of else is executed. If else statement. The if else statement is used to execute a block of code among two alternatives. However, if we need to make a choice between more than two alternatives, we use the if else statements. If, then condition, code block 1, then if else condition, code block 2, and then in else block 3. If else working. If condition 1 evaluates to true, the code block 1 is executed. If condition 1 evaluates to false, then condition 2 is evaluated. If condition 2 is true, the code block 2 is executed. If condition 2 is false, the code block 3 is executed. Here is another example. Program to check whether an integer is positive, negative, or 0. So here is a program. If condition, if number is greater than 0, then see out you entered a positive number. Else if condition, number is less than 0, see out you entered a negative integer, and then an else statement in which see out you entered 0. In this program, we take a number from the user. We then use the if else ladder to check whether the number is positive, negative, or 0. If the number is greater than 0, the code inside the if block is executed. If the number is less than 0, the code inside the else if block is executed. Otherwise, the code inside the else block is executed. Now here is nested if else statement. Sometimes we need to use an if else if statement inside another if statement. This is known as nested if statement. Think of it as multiple layers of if statements. There is a first outer if statement, and inside it is another inner if statement. If, then condition, code block 1, then if condition 2, code block 2, else code block 3, and then else code block 4. This else if of first if condition. An example, C++ program to find if an integer is even or odd or neither 0 using nested if statements. Here is firstly the outer if condition. Then inside if there is an other if, means nested if. Then inner else condition, and then else for outer if. End of program. We take an integer as an input from the user and store it in the variable num. We then use an if else statement to check whether num is not equal to 0. If true, then the inner if else statement is executed. If false, the code inside the outer else condition is executed, which prints the number is 0. The inner if else statement checks whether the input number is divisible by 2. If true, then we print a statement saying that the number is even. If false, we print that the number is odd. Notice that 0 is also divisible by 2, but it is actually not an even number. This is why we first make sure that the input number is not 0 in the outer if condition. Switch case statement. The switch statement allows us to execute a block of code among many alternatives. A switch statements allow a variable to be tested for equality against a list of values. Each value is called a case. If else statement is used to avoid the repetition, switch case is used to avoid the repetition of if else statements. Here is the syntax. Switch case statement working. The expression is evaluated once as and compared with the values of each case label. If there is a match, the corresponding code after the matching label is executed. For example, if the value of the variable is equal to constant 2, the code after case constant 2 is executed until the break statement is encountered. If there is no match, the code after the default is executed. Default statement is necessary in switch condition. Here is an example program to build a simple calculator using switch statement. Here is the use of switch statement. Case 1, case 2, and break statement is also used in switch. We first prompt the user to enter the desired operator. This input is then stored in the character variable named oper. We then prompt the user to enter two numbers which are stored in the float variable number 1 and number 2. The switch statement is then used to check the operator entered by the user. If the user enter plus, addition is performed on the numbers. If the user enter negative sign, means subtraction is performed on the numbers. If the user enter multiplication is performed on the numbers. If the user enters division, the division is performed on the numbers. If the user enters any other character, the default code is printed. Notice that the break statement is used inside each case block. This terminates the switch statement. If the break statement is not used, all cases after the correct case are executed. Okay friends, this is it for now. Thank you for watching this presentation, and please also mention the summary in the comment box that what you have learned from today's lecture. Thank you for watching.